Lupa nila yun, boss. Kasasabi mo lang dito kanina, magbibigay kayo ng incentive dun sa mga maglalagay ng roof ng solar. Etong katutubo, hirap na hirap pa tayong tulungan yung katutubo natin, Atty. Layon.
Apparently, marami po sa mga kababayan natin nagpapa-install na lang ng solar without actually acquiring a building permit. Kasi yung solar is ipapatong sa taas na bubong. And then they would have to consider the structural integrity of these are homes. People actually live here. So if something happens, babagsak. So that's why it's required for them to apply first for a building permit before they apply for a net metering
Ilan ba
application.
yung standard na weight ng isang solar panel? Kasi kung computed naman yun, kung alam nila, dapat madaling mag-issue eh. So titingnan niya yung load-bearing capacity ng bahay. Eh kung gawa lang ng sawali, eh hindi ka pwedeng maglagay ng yero dyan para maglagay. Hindi pwede.
Yun muna. Sige, go ahead, attorney.
Good morning, everyone. For the Department of Interior and Local Government, we would like to underscore the importance of ensuring meaningful LGU participation in renewable energy development. Therefore, as to Senate Bill 1807, we oppose no objection as to the proposed amendments on revenue sharing and as well as the proposed requirements for the endorsement of concerned sanggunian before the execution of renewable energy operating contracts. And however, it is recommended that there be clear guidelines as to governing the computation, release, and utilization of such shares, just so we can strengthen the monitoring and accountability mechanism of these funds once it's already been given to the LGUs. And then as the proposed measures aimed for streamlining and permitting process, we would just like to clarify, Madam Chair, as to the misconception that it is the LGU's fault kung bakit natatagalan. Because with the current issued JMC, which is recently issued, meron po talaga kang strictly nakalagay na this JMC only applies if the existing application already has a building permit. Apparently, marami po sa mga kababayan natin nagpapa-install na lang ng solar without actually acquiring a building permit. Kasi na-raise na rin to with DPWH. Bakit nila nire-require ang building permits? It's because yung solar is ipapatong sa taas na bubong. And then they would have to consider the structural integrity of these are homes. People actually live here. So if something happens, babagsak. So that's why it's required for them to apply first for a building permit before they apply for a net metering application. What happens right now is old homes install solars and then wala pala silang mga building permit. So once nag-apply sila sa LGU, hahanapan sila, nasa na yung building permit ninyo. And because of that, akala nila hindi streamlined ang documents. It's because the LGU will require them more documents for them to apply for a building permit for their installation of the solar panels. And then syempre pag the house is actually hindi sufficient yung integrity nila, this is all technical matters, di lalong hahaba na naman yung list of documents that they will need to submit in order to apply for the net metering. Kaya po siya tumatagal, ma'am. So that's one of the issues that we would like to clarify na hindi talaga, as to the streamlined, these may permits talaga na ito lang po talaga ang list of documents na hihingin ni LGU. But apparently because there is a lack of a building permit prior to the installation of a solar panel, that yun, dumadami ang list of documents at hindi na nagrereklamo sila na ba't dami, ito lang yung ni-require sa MC in the first place. Yan, ma'am.
I appreciate that clarification. In this summary provided by my committee to me, and I read this earlier, it says LGU approvals within 3 working days. It introduces the deemed approved mechanism. This is the DOE circular in 2026. So I'm guessing this is what you're referring to, kasi it requires 3 days approval. But we all know that building permits don't take that quickly because you literally need the inspector from the LGU to check. And of course, if you give it like on a Monday, you can't be assured that Tuesday na Tuesday mapupuntahan. So kung hindi pa kasama dito, kung kasama na dito sa 3 days yung building permit, baka hindi kaya. So can we get a comment from DOE? Because this is your circular.
Ma'am, actually, ma'am, that circular or advisory that we issued that is in
This
answer.
January yata, but this year,
Actually,
2026. The DC 2026-01.
in this is in an offshoot from the circular, ma'am. So it presupposes that they already have a building permit. So
Okay.
the other requirements that have several days is already that
Is
they
that clear from the circular? Because like even me, is it clear from the circular? that
Yes,
it
ma'am. The
presupposes that
circular
there's a
reads
building
that
permit?
the circular only applies to those who already have a
Have a building
Yes,
permit
yes.
naman.
Yes,
Okay, but the impression with the public is natatagalan. That's
Yes,
why you're
ma'am.
clarifying.
Yes, ma'am.
Oo. Yeah, I understand. So maybe that can be clarified kasi napakasimple naman ang sinabi mo, madali naman intindihin, 'di ba? For safety naman din talaga.
That's
So,
also one of our comments is also for capacity building and information talaga. The public needs to know bakit kailangan ng building permit, bakit kailangan ang daming permit for, kasi lalo na with those with old structures. Napagawa ko na yung bahay, may building permit na ako for this, bakit kailangan ko ng
That's
another
exactly
permit?
what came to my
Yes.
mind because I'm not
Yes,
an
ma'am.
engineer. I don't know anything. Like, may building permit na yan. Ano pa ba kailangan
Yes,
niya?
exactly.
But I'm just curious. I understand when you say for the old structures, no? But is there a way to predetermine based on kunyari, every home built of concrete as of this date, alam na natin na structurally sound yan for solar? Because I don't even know how heavy it is, or it's really a case-to-case basis. I mean, I need a what kind of engineer to answer my question.
Madam Chair, sino ba ang acceptable na mag-i-inspect o mag-i-issue ng permit? Yung building official ba sa
Yeah.
municipality?
Yeah.
Yun lang, okay na yun.
Oh,
Ilan ba yung standard na weight ng isang solar panel? Kasi kung computed naman yun, kung alam nila, dapat madaling mag-issue eh. So titingnan niya yung load-bearing capacity ng bahay. Kung gawa lang ng sawali, hindi ka pwedeng maglagay ng yero dyan para maglagay. Hindi pwede. Alam ng building official, it should be madali dapat, di ba? Alam niya yung bigat ng panels. At ilan ba ilalagay? 10, 5, 3 lang. Di ba dapat na yun, standardized para alam kagad ng building official?
The solar panel to follow up yung point ni Senator Marcoleta, even the what do you call them, the distributors of solar panels would know na hindi naman niya pwedeng ibenta yan sa bahay na gawa sa NIPA. Although pwede naman itayo yun separately, di ba? Basta may tatamaan ng araw, no? So, I don't know, I'm just saying baka may standards tayong madedevelop to expedite the process. Just yun lang naman yung point natin, to expedite without compromising safety.
Yes, well, Madam Chair. Based on the consultation meetings that we conducted in the formulation of the memorandum circular, usually our building officials in the local government units, they have a presumption on the structural integrity of the structures within 15 years. So because the 15-year period is the liability of the contractors over the structure that they built. So after this 15-year period, the building officials are now more cautious in requiring building permit. So if the structure does not is already beyond the 15-year period, then they may require a separate building permit just for the application of the net metering installation. Because under this net metering joint memorandum circular, there is no more requirement for the building permit, but only electrical permit. And then after the installation, the only permit that will be applied is the certificate of final electrical inspection. And those permits will no longer be considered as an original permit, but will be an ancillary permit to the building permit if they do not qualify to the caveat in this joint memorandum circular that they are existing structure with validly issued building permit. The legal basis of this provision is the National Building Code of the Philippines, which requires alteration in the structure for the building permit. So the installation of net metering is considered as an alteration which requires the building permit from the local government unit. So this is actually the compromise that we had with with the DPWH and the Philippine Association of Building Officials when we conducted the consultation meetings, Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. I think if I may suggest, ma'am, the real cause of delay is the inspection. I mean, really, I mean, we cannot compromise safety, no? And everything is done through as-built plans. If there is an as-built plan of a certain house or a certain applicant, the real cause of delay really, I mean, basing it from the feedback from the electric cooperatives, is the schedule of inspection, which we understand, no? Which we understand that in every LGU there are only limited inspectors, and hindi lang naman ito ang trabaho nila. So since, ma'am, this is a national project and this will redound to the benefit of the many, I think LGUs, I mean, if they can put priority and maybe assign one group just to attend to inspecting applicants for net metering. So there would be no cause of delay in the procurement of this necessary license. We fully understand the load bearing capacity. Everything should be validated, but the problem there is the scheduling of inspection. It will really take time. So since if there would be enough support from the LGU to propagate this national project, I think this will be solved, ma'am.
Sige, go
Madam
ahead,
Chair,
go
I
ahead.
think the contractor or the installer of PV system should be responsible in looking at the as-built plan and coordination with the building official, with the permits and so on and so forth. Para siya na yung titingin lang. Hindi naman niya, yung owner will always rely on the contractor
Yeah,
and installer of the PV system.
Actually, Sen, that is the normal. The responsibility to procure licenses and permits will be to the account of the contractor.
Yes.
So it will all depend on kailan may inspect. Kaya siyempre ang building official, Sen, hindi sila pipirma hanggang hindi nila na-inspect, na-validate. So I think that's where the things are being stymied.
So paano natin ma-expedite yung mga building official, LGU, kayo naman ang ano, pagka PV system, dahil nga ito, batas na to, i-require nyo na silang madalian na ito. Yung ibang trabaho nyo, magsakripisyo ng konti, ito, bigyan nyo ng priority. Siguro pagka sinabihan nyo sila ng ganun, yung usual na delay ninyo, medyo
Yes,
bawasan
sir.
na ninyo.
Yes,
Pagka ang pinag-uusapan na installation ng mga solar panels, PV system in a building or in a home or in any facility, basta bigyan nyo ng priority. So pag sinabi nyo, within 3 days kailangan na-inspect yan, sa tingin ko naman,
Yes.
makikinig sila sa inyo.
Yes, and we're already working with ARTA with that in order to actually facilitate really the exact timeline where we can fully implement the same, sir. So we're working with that.
Ilan ba yung ano nila, madam? Kasi kung halimbawa mag-a-apply sa inyo, 10 kaagad, di naman yan kayang inspeksyonin ng 1 week lang yun. Mabusisi rin naman siguro. So, ilan ba usually po yung mga tao ninyo sa LGU na mag-i-inspect and kung halimbawa lahat po magiging interesado rito, baka yun mga inspector kulang kayo. So, problema din yun kung wala po kayong mga tao.
Sir, kasi to be totally honest, not all LGUs are capacitated the same way, considering some are actually not, they don't have their own building officials. Some are just designated for that certain LGU. So, tumatawid si building official for that. Kaya in that sense, it's also a question of financing, and yun, we will again, it all boils down to we would need assistance as to financing if we would be providing them their separate plantilla position just to focus on this. So yun po, sir.
Ganito Madam Chair, I think we can do this on a pay as we go along concept. Yung mga talagang LGUs naman na nakaririwasa, let's say first class municipalities, yun na muna yung unahin, second class. Pagkatapos hanggang sa nakikita natin, nakakapacitate na natin yung third class, fourth class, fifth class, and sixth class municipalities. Dadating din tayo doon Pero unahin na natin yung more qualified, yung Class A. Marami naman yan. Doon pa lamang baka kompleto na yung plato ninyo. Baka hindi na
Yes,
kayo magkanda o gagarin. Basta
Yes.
kailangan, payagan nyo na yung opportunity na ma-undertake natin as soon as possible, starting from those municipalities that are capable to accept and absorb this development. Thank
And
you,
also
Madam.
in relation po dun, ma'am, we also have a comment as to dun sa installing solar and the use of renewable energy in government offices because a bill also includes LGUs. In this case, our comment here would be that at least phased implementation and not total implementation agad when it comes to LGUs because again, we would have to consider the capacity of each LGU and even how the sangguniang hall looks like and everything. I don't
Yes,
think
ma'am.
that
We will consider that seriously.
yes. Thank you very much. And that's all.
Let's move on. Let's try to move this along. We actually have a meeting, but I want to give everyone a chance to be heard today. So NGCP Attorney Lali Malyari, and then please be ready Meralco, and then Philippine Independent Power Producers. You have the floor, Attorney Lali.
Good afternoon, Your Honors. Very, very brief, Your Honor. We support the legislative bills that are in the agenda in today's hearing, as it is our mandate under our franchise that whenever required by the ERC, it is our duty to modify and improve the transmission system or facilities in such manner and to such extent as the progress in science and improvements in the electric power services may reasonably require. So we support, Your Honors.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's proceed with Meralco, Mr. Lawrence Fernandez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Senator Marcoleta. Madam Chair, we support the objectives of Senate Bill 457. Meralco will undertake to help expedite the integration of the solar rooftops of any government establishments in the franchise area. We also support, in particular, the version of Senator Gatchalian on the amendment of the RE Act to streamline the net metering program to give the ERC the authority to determine the scope of the net metering program, also to streamline the process for permitting. Meralco has from the very start been supportive of the net metering program. Even before the rules were promulgated, we installed a pilot facility so that we can learn who the installers are, how a net metering facility works, how it's installed. So now we have more than 20,000 net metering installations in our franchise area with the total capacity of more than 170 megawatts. And actually, even with the current 100 kilowatt limit for net metering, it has not stopped our customers from installing even larger rooftops. We have actually 370 megawatts of solar rooftops that are not part of the net metering program. So these are the larger commercial establishments. They have an average installation size of 700 kilowatts each. So even without the removal of the 100 kilowatt limit, nangyayari na po siya. So in all, there are more than 500 megawatts of registered solar rooftops in the Meralco franchise area. If we may suggest lang, ma'am, also to expedite the process, if the DOE can be authorized to coordinate with DTI to adopt technical standards for solar rooftop associated equipment. Gaya ng nabanggit ng DPWH, it will also help the DUs in evaluating net metering applications. Nakita namin na there is already a standard for inverters, for example, but there are installers who do not use those inverters that adopt the international standard. And also, ma'am, if the DOE can be authorized to adopt qualifications for installers. Gaya ng nabanggit ni Senator Marcoleta, ordinarily it's the installer that will take care of permits. But I think the anecdotes from DILG shows that even the installers do not know, for example, that you need a building permit first for certain houses that are older than 15 years. So dapat installer na yun na ano. Malamang nangyari, the installer will tell the customer, Hindi humihingi yung DILG ng permit, but the installer should have told the customer already that
Ito yung requirement.
yes.
Yeah. Understood.
So, and ang experience ko namin, an ICSC study has shown that about 1/3 of solar rooftops in the Meralco franchise area are called guerrilla installations. So hindi po to kumuha ng CFEI sa LGU. So walang
many?
inspection.
1/3?
According to their study, sabi nila they took satellite photos from Google Earth and they checked it against what's registered in the ERC database. Mas marami daw yung naka-install rather compared to what's registered. So given the streamlining, maybe we can the bill can also include a provision on how the industry can regularize those guerrilla installations.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Let me now call on Philippine Independent Power Producers Association, Ms. Marivic Cuaya.
Hi po. Good morning, Madam
Yeah.
Chair.
And
Good
then
morning,
Just
Senator.
before you proceed, now please be ready, Philippine Solar and Storage Energy, and then Dream. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. We have a PowerPoint presentation, Madam Chair.
Okay.
It will just take 3 minutes here. So next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. So PIPA is supportive of the Senate bills that aim to adopt the usage of renewable energy, particularly solar, into the government infrastructures, Your Honor. And PIPA seeks to recommend for the adoption of a consolidated bill that will provide for provisions that also avoid distortion of pricing and those that shift costs to non-participating customers and the undermining existing market rules and contracts, Your Honor. For next, please. Next slide. Yeah. Regarding the amendments to the Renewable Energy Act, specifically with regards to the bill of Senator Marcos regarding the requirement of an LGU endorsement for RE service contracts, Your Honor. The PIPA proposes that there be a clear timeline included in the bills, Your Honor. For example, 60 days from the submission of the requirements and the alignment of these timelines with the EBOS Act. And also, should there be, and also to avoid possible delays for the approval of these endorsements, we propose the inclusion of a deemed approved mechanism in which that just in case that the LGU fails to act or for whatever reason within the prescribed period, the application for the endorsement with regards to the RE service contract is considered granted already. But in the alternative, Your Honor, the LGU may allow the submission of the comments and recommendations or objections to the project po. And also, we would also like to propose that there be a clear definition of the term unreasonably withheld in the bill just to properly classify what circumstances will fall under those that will allow the LGU to withhold its endorsement for the project po. And also, with regards to the consultation then with the LGU, we propose that rationalizing the consultations and avoid multiple consultations if possible, and just to have one formal public consultation. And in the alternative po, we also hope that instead of an endorsement, that generation companies instead secure a consultation with the LGU where the LGU can submit its comments and propositions with regards to the proposed project in the area. The next slide, please. Now, and on the proposed increase of the government share under RE projects, we recommend that there be no amendments to the current provisions of the law regarding the government share. So we would like to propose for the retainment of the current 1% government share. And we recommend with regards to the following considerations, Your Honor, that there are already fees and other levies imposed upon generation companies in other legislations, Your Honor. So, for example, the ER 1-94, Your Honor, particularly starting this year, this increased already ×3, Your Honor po. And also, we would like to share also that increasing the government share or any without consolidating or without considering the other impositions imposed under existing policies and laws might affect the viability of the project, and also we don't want that to prevent the to prevent the country from achieving its national renewable energy targets. And then on the proposed automatic direct release of the LGU share directly to the LGUs, we recommend that there be no automatic release to the LGUs, and we hope that there are defined standards that will ensure that the management of these funds as well as the disbursements are properly accounted for, Your Honors. Next slide, please. On the inclusion of the power generation projects in the LGU share of national wealth, the PIPA recommends the deletion of the proposed inclusion of power generation projects as part of the national wealth, since this may be overly broad and might cover both RE and non-RE generation project. And we would like for the inclusion of a provision that will incentivize renewable energy projects, particularly with the imposition of an incentive on the tax assessments on the land where the RE projects are located. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So PIPA is supportive of the measures to lift the cap for net metering. So we just have this suggestions, particularly on the parity pricing method for surplus electricity exports under net metering. We recommend that the exports should not be credited to the full retail price of the electricity, since this might overcompensate net metering customers and create cross subsidies from non-participants. And also, regarding on the timeline for the DO processing of net metering applications, we note, Madam Chair, that the current proposed timeline of 15 working days may be too short for some distribution utilities. So we suggest that the DOE or the ERC might decide on what particular timeline should be given for the processing of the net metering applications. Next slide po. I think that's all for PIPA, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We'll go through that, and then at least we have something already when we go into a TWG, because that was quite detailed. Thank you. So let's go to Philippine Solar and Storage Energy Alliance, Attorney Noel Baga.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairperson. On behalf of PSEA, we very much welcome and support most of the provisions in the Senate bills, lalo na po yung requirements sa government agencies to source a minimum percentage of their electricity requirements from solar power. Apat lang po yung concerns namin. Yung una po, yung just like PIPA, yung mandatory LGU endorsement na kailangan po yun bago po i-grant ng DOE yung Renewable Energy Service Contract. Ang tingin po namin, this is an additional administrative layer na di-delay po yung project. Yun po yung problema dyan. So ang suggestion po namin, just like PIPA, sana po limited yung days na after the submission of the requirements. Sana po nakalagay sa batas kung ano yung days that the LGU should approve it or deny. Siguro po 60 days. And then kung i-deny man po nila, kailangan po sana clear yung standards. Kailangan bibigyan nila yung specific reason why they denied it. And the term unreasonably withheld should also be defined. Yun po. And of course, kapag hindi po mag-grant within those certain number of days, deemed approved, And also kung i-deny po nung LGU, sana po meron po tayong appeal process from the denial of the LGU to the Department of Energy. Yun po. Sa pangalawang punto po namin is yung increase po ng government share. Under ho ng Renewable Energy Act, 1% po yung government share. So may proposals po na i-increase ito to 2%. So deeply concerned po kami dito kasi mamahal po yung ating project cost and at the same time, ipapass on din po to consumers itong increase na to kaya tataas po ang presyo ng ating kuryente. Yung third point po namin, just like PIPA, dito po sa Senate bills natin, meron pong mga proposals for more public consultation sa LGU. So baka naman po ang suggestion po namin, pwedeng i-integrate ito pong mga public consultations na ito perhaps into one public consultation. And lastly, may proposals din po dito for variability in land assessment methodologies. So ang proposal po namin aralin po maigi ito at sana po hindi i-increase ng more than 10% ng fair market value ng land yung assessment at aralin po maigi ito para fair din po sa developers. So we're going to submit po, Madam Chairperson, our formal position paper very soon. Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you for that. Okay, let's go to DREAM, Developers of Renewable Energy for Advancement, Attorney J. Layug, and then after that, please be ready, Phil Hydro Association and Wind Energy Developers. So you have the floor.
Just for the
Attorney
record, Madam
J.
Chair,
Layug. Yes,
the
sir.
proposals from ano yun, PISA.
PISA
I
po,
think
sir.
they appear to be very, very reasonable, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Parang halos same lang naman ni Pipa, mahaba lang yung sa kanya, kaya nagmukhang reasonable yung kay Attorney Baga. Anyway, go ahead, Attorney J.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Well, first point, we support the DOE and ERC on their comments on the solar rooftops for buildings. So we support these bills as well. No? We also support ERC on their efforts to refine net metering versus distributed energy resource rules. So hopefully the rules will come out very, very soon. Third, we support PIPA and PISEA on their comments on the proposed amendment to the RE law. No? If you notice, the proposal now is for the LGU to first approve before DOE issues the service contract. Bumaliktad po. No? But under the Constitution, yun yung basehan ng pag-issue ng DOE ng service contract, no? Hindi naman po mawawala yung consultation on the LGUs because after they secure the DOE approval, they have to get the BOI incentives, that's the basis, and thereafter secure the LGU resolution. So kasama naman po, pag binaligtad ho, they will incur costs and therefore they will not be able to recover those costs until they get the BOI incentive. So we should retain po the current process, no? And secondly, wag na ho natin itaas yung government share, no? Kasi 2% dinagdagan at I'm sure everyone knows, pati yung indigenous tribes po pinapadagdagan nila from to 5%, no? So patong na ho tayo ng patong, no? Itataas lang ho yung kuryente pagka ganyan, no? So we hope that we retain our ILO. What I think we need to focus on is pushing for more projects to be built, no, because the laws are there. And having said that, if I may just present a few slides and justify why we are pushing for renewables. Makita po natin, if you go to the next slide, go ahead, next slide, please. Let me just show you where we are in terms of, next slide, the current installed capacity, next slide, for renewables. If you look at the latest data, next slide, the table, power generation capacity, it would show that renewables is now 32%. This is based on DOE data. No, so we're almost there in terms of the target of 35%. However, we all know pag nagtayo ho ng malalaking coal, yung 32 yan, bababa na naman ng 22. No, so that's why we do not support any move to lift the moratorium on coal. No, I think what we should do more is push for more renewables to get built. No. Now, and if you go to the next slide, you will see that despite the increase in capacity for renewables, you will note that coal is still there. Now, 62% of generation comes from coal. And always our problem is we rely too much on imported fuels. Whenever oil or coal goes up, tayo tinatamaan. No? So we want to reduce this kind of pie chart and have more renewables in the system. No? Let me just show you very quickly. If you go to the slide number 15, no? Why have we been pushing for renewables? And this data that is outdated, no? And we request the DOE and ERC to do the study together with IMAP. This is the effect of feed-in tariff. There are about 1,400 megawatts awarded by the DOE on a feed-in tariff basis. Next slide. And you will see the effect of feed-in tariff. And let me just go straight, no, because FIT plants are considered must dispatch. Let me go straight to slide number 18. Slide number 18. Here you go. Because of all your FIT plants and they are considered must dispatch, kita nyo ho na nakasave po tayo sa consumers ng 9.4 cents per kilowatt hour. No? And this is only as of 2020. If you recall, sumipa po yung presyo ng coal in 2022. No, where we hit, I think, about $400 per metric ton. You can imagine, because coal was more expensive then, and your RE was at a fixed price, no, at the FIT rates, mas malaki na ho yung savings natin. No? That's why I'm recommending to both DOE and ERC, paki-recalculate po para makita ho ng ating mga end users, ang laki na ho ng nasa-save natin because we have put in the cheaper renewables in the system. So in summary po, let me just go to the last slide. Our push from the private sector, in fact, no, because we have contributed to reducing the cost of electricity, pwede ho, if the DOE can consider, let's increase our targets. Now, right now, we have a 35% target by 2030 and 50% by 2040. I think we can do better than that, given where we are on the cost. Now, we fully support all the efforts to improve government processes, no, and reduce administrative problems. No? And perhaps po, no, we've been talking about solar rooftops. Maybe we can give incentives to the households. In other countries like Australia, yung mga bumibili ho ng solar rooftop, yung mga bahay ho may incentive sila in the form of tax credits. So pwede naman hong gawin natin. No? And of course, we support the DOE in all their auction programs. We just want to make sure that all the rules are uniform, no, without any distinction, to help ensure that we have more renewable energy projects going online. Thank you po.
Madam Chair, gusto ko lang sanang tanungin si Attorney Jay.
Just recognize the presence of Senator Padilla. Welcome.
Maraming salamat po.
Attorney, anong ibig sabihin ng DREAM?
DREAM po is Developers of Renewable Energy for Advancement. Yung M po yung MENT.
Pwede ba nating palitan ng DREAM come true?
Well, actually, Madam Chair, once upon a time we called this DREAM. No? In 2019 when we launched DREAM, kasama po namin yung mga nakikita nyo sa government. And now we can say it has come true. Kasi
Thank you.
noong unang panahon, no, problema namin yan. Ngayon po, renewables is abound. No? And we're very happy that the government is very supportive.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, opo, pwede po bang makasingit lang ng sandali lang? Opo. Attorney Layog, ako po nananahimik sa aking opisina at nakikinig po sa inyo. Ako po napababa dito sapagkat nabanggit niyo po yung ating mga katutubo, yung aming pong mga indigenous people. Gusto ko lamang pong tanungin, bakit po ba parang hirap na hirap kayo pagka pinag-uusapan, nadadagdagan yung nakukuha ng mga katutubo doon sa mga lupa nilang incentives na madalas hindi pa nabibigay? Parang sabi nyo pa, tataas ang kuryente dahil lumihingi itong mga katutubo ng dagdag sa lupa nila yun, boss. Kasasabi mo lang dito kanina, magbibigay kayo ng incentive dun sa mga maglalagay ng roof ng solar. Itong katutubo, hirap na hirap pa tayong tulungan yung katutubo natin, Attorney Layog.
Madam Chair, if I may respond to that. Actually, the Honorable Senator, hindi naman ho kami pumapalag sa pagbigay ng incentives, no?
Sabi nyo kasi kanina Sabi nyo, boss,
Tinaas po.
tataas ang kuryente pagka tinaas yung percentage. Alam niyo po ba sa pag-aaral namin dito, karamihan ng katutubo natin hindi pa nakukuha yung percentage na yan?
Yes, Madam Chair. Actually, again, we are not saying that they should not get their incentives, no, or their share. Ang amin lang po sinasabi kasi ang pagtaas to 5%. Bukod sa pagtaas po ng 2% government share. So pataas na ho ng pataas. No? So there must be a way where we can balance getting incentives and share of not just the LGUs but also the IPs na nakalagay naman po sa batas.
Yun nga po ang point sana, sir. Maganda po yung hearing po ninyo. Matiwasay akong nakikinig dahil ang gaganda po ng mga plano. Isa lang naman po ang hingin natin. Huwag naman po yung pangkatutubo, boss, naman ang ating sisisihin pa dito. Kawawang-kawawa na ho yung mga katutubo, sir. Lupa naman nila yan kung saan nakatirik yung mga gusto nyong itirik. Alam nyo, sa totoo lang, 4 na taon na ako dito. Nasa akin po yung committee na yan. Ni 1% po, walang napupunta. Puro salita lang po tayo dito. Salita sa 2.5, 1%. Sasabihin, isisisi sa amin, wala naman yan dyan sa batas. Hindi naman yan nakalagay dyan sa IPRA. Sir, pakiusap lang po. Sana naman, magkaroon tayo ng puso doon sa mga taong nauna, sa mga sinaunang tao dito sa bayan natin. Hindi ko po kayo inaano, sir, ha? Ako po yung mapakaganda po ng presentasyon nyo. Sana lang po ma-rephrase natin minsan yung ating pananalita pagdating po sa mga katutubo. Dahil kung sino po dapat ang unang makinabang dito, sir, nakikiusap po ako. Bilang inyong kapatid, ay nakikiusap po ako kung sinong unang dapat makinabang dito sa lahat ng ito, yung mga katutubo, sir. Yun lamang po, sir. Wala naman po akong ano. Maraming salamat po, Chair.
Madam Chair, pandagdag lang sa sinasabi ni Senator Robin. Nakikita ko po yung kanyang posisyon eh. Kapag nabanggit po kasi yung tungkol sa mga katutubo at sasabihin natin ito yung makakadagdag doon sa konsumo, final consumption o final price na babayaran po ng ating mga kababayan. Kailangan po ma-explain nating mabuti na yung ibinayad halimbawa sa lupa ng katutubo. Gaano ba yung kanyang porsyento sa share ng total cost? Kasi halimbawa, ito po para makaproduce tayo ng isang 1 kilowatt hour. Napakarami pong cost factors yan eh. Pagka tiningnan mo po yung ibinayad nyo sa katutubo, 0.0001 lang naman yun eh. So hindi sa gaanong malaki at wag natin sa sigurong i-float o i-bloat na parang ito yung naging sanhi kung bakit ganong kataas. Alam natin na malit na bahagi yun eh. Kumbaga fixed cost yun eh. Na ang pinakamalaki pong konsumo, yun po yung mga variable cost. Na yan po yung ina-address natin, lalong-lalo na po sa mga malaking generation and distribution utilities. Siguro ang kanyang panig lang ay wag nating gagawin parang yun ang pinakabatayan na parang tataas. Alam niya at alam ko po hindi po yun. Sapagkat pag kinonsumo na, pag kinuwenta natin, maliit lang na talaga na fixed cost yun. Yun po ang kanyang palagay ko yung gusto niyang sabihin. Salamat po, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, if I may. Yes, Madam Chair, personally I support giving incentives and share to the IPs. No, in fact, when I was in the DOE, that's what we did. We went down to the IPs, kinausap po nila namin, dinala ho namin ang project developers at sinabihan ho namin ng mga developers, tulungan niyo po at may mga programs po. No? Under the current setup po, there's a 1% government share in all RE projects. 60% of that goes to the national government. Yun po yung dapat ini-implement ng national government, and part of that should be given to the IP. So we fully support po. We're not opposing that. No? Kaya ho, we will have to defer to DOE on how they will spend the government share. No? Yung 40% po napupunta sa LGUs.
We'll proceed. Thank you. So let's go on to our next resource person, and that would be PhilHydro Association, Mr. Francis Joel Zaire.
Good morning, Madam Chair. PhilHydro supports the 6 bills, namely 457, 702, 1635, 10061, 1087, 1234. These are RE for government offices, facilities, solar rooftop adoption for all, as well as net metering enhancement and strengthening, especially on the removal of the 100 kilowatt cap. And as for SB 1087, which is amending the RE Act and the LGU Code of 1991, we support the wisdom on the RE development and support the LGUs as highlighted. However, we have some reservations and concerns, which is very similar to what PIPA, PISEA, and DREAM have said. I'd just like to point two points, no, to expound on that. First, of course, is dun sa pagkuha ng LGU endorsement prior to a service contract. So we felt this is an additional bottleneck. No? Masaya na po sana kami sa sa IBOS, which is of course being executed by DOE. So we believe there is a time for that LGU endorsement, and hopefully it's not at the time during the service contract application as explained by Attorney Jay Layo. Secondly is on the increase from 1% to 2% on the LGU share. Kami po sa Hydro, kami po ay isa sa, until now, kami po ang may pinakamataas na investment cost. Nasa between $3 to $6 million per megawatt pa rin po kami. Mataas po ang upfront cost namin. So these are really kailangan po mapag-aralan kasi ito ay dagdag po sana na lumalabas na pampabigat dun sa investment side, lalo na po sa Hydro. Tawag dito, yung mahaba po kasi talaga ang, especially sa Hydro, mahaba din po ang investment, mahaba din po ang time to invest. So, on top of that, na-highlight po na kaka-increase lang po ni DOE from 1 centavo to 3 centavos yung ER1-94. And to be honest with that, the previous developers whose plans are already running as of this moment, madadagdag po yun, no? Yung additional 2. Hindi po yun naipasok sa mga financial models ng mga previous developers. However, we respect that because inflation naman po talaga ang reason, and that was way back 1990s po. So, but then again, hindi po lahat ng RE projects are masagana, contrary to what the notion is. RE projects are based on feasibility studies na mayroong mga technical, administrative at socio-economic or components. Meron pong mga unforeseen na minsan hindi po talaga nasusunod yung mga forecasted generation namin. So, of course, that is unfortunate, but then again, sugal po ang pagpasok sa RE. And lastly, on a good note naman, we appreciate the provision on security measures for infrastructure security and fiscal policy. Yung pagsuporta ng mandato na ang PNP at saka ang AFP ay tutugon sa pagdepensa sa ating mga RE facilities, sa mga power facilities. We really appreciate that, and if that is passed, then we appreciate for that position. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
Thank you.
ano po yung nakita niyong bottleneck sa mga LGUs?
Nasa proseso na po kasi nagkakaroon, meron naman po time for LGU tawag dito, for LGU endorsement. I believe nasa
Po, ganun ang nakikita.
Yes po. Yung pag-apply po ng service contract, and I believe DOE is in the forefront of that, and I believe
Nasaan po yung bottleneck?
yung
Diretso nyo, meron namang LGU rito para
yes po. Iba po kasi ang posisyon ng LGU. And baka meron po tayong mga unforeseen na mga nakikita na posibleng ireklamo na hindi naman necessary.
Diba Hydro po kayo? Diba?
Yes, opo. Nasa Hydro po.
Kaya halimbawa, yung Tarlac province po, landlocked yan.
Yes.
Wala kayong problema sa Tarlac, di ba? Nueva Ecija. Ewan ko kung may river na malala. Wala po yan.
Yeah.
Sa mga siguro mga coastal lang yan kung saan nag-generate kayo ng forces from the sea. Yun lang siguro yung mga,
Mm.
baka coastal LGUs lang yan, hindi yung mga landlocked. And island siguro po.
Yes, although I'm telling this as in general context for RE and even for the power and energy as well. So sabi ko nga po yung EBOS, masaya na po kami kasi napabilis po yung proseso natin doon. Kasali na naman po doon yung approval sa mga LGUs, yung kuha po ng ECC, nagkakaroon po ng consultations doon. And we believe it starts really in the barangay kung yung appreciation man ng community ang una natin kailangan gawin bago tayo po umabot sa munisipyo, sa city or sa province as well.
Ano po ibig sabihin sa barangay?
Impact area po kasi sila.
Ang konseho nila, gano'n?
Yes po. Yung meron po kasing barangay approval, syempre, mas maigi po nga doon po tayo nag-uumpisa. Hindi po tayo nag-uumpisa sa LGU itself. So, nandun po sa proseso na dumadaan po tayo doon sa baba, paakyat hanggang sa umabot po tayo sa probinsya.
Sir, okay. From the Wind Energy Developers Association of the Philippines, Attorney Poch Ambrosio, you have the floor.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Senator Marcoleta. We expressed our support likewise for the bills that are in front of us today, especially the bills for net metering and adoption of government adoption of solar rooftops, which will accelerate RE. And we would also like to second the comments of Dream, especially with those with respect to the amendments to the RE law. The difficulty with being last is that there's not much more to say, but I'd like to amplify the matter of the LGU. The LGU, sirs, it is actually very much central to the development of the project. Not only do you have to get their endorsement at the outset, but you have to establish and maintain a strong, harmonious relationship with it throughout the 20 or 25 years of the project. So it is in every interest of the developer to start out well, continue well, and end well with the LGU, because that's where you are. You are in a host community, and as a guest of the host community, you have to be a gracious guest. So we just like to say that the endorsement prior to the issuance of a service contract may not be necessary, because the engagement with the LGU happens all throughout the process of the life cycle of the project up to the very end. And then, of course, the matter of the increasing the government share, I think might go contrary to the objective to increase the development of renewable energy in the Philippines. And I understand there's actually a Senate bill that cuts it in half to 5%, 2.5% instead of 1%. And we would hope that is the way that that Congress goes. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I think we have heard enough. Alam ko po, pag pinag-uusapan natin renewable energy, please educate me, pero sa pagtansya ko, it's 90% technical, 10% administrative. Yung sinasabi po ninyo kanina na hydro, kung makikipag-engage pa kayo sa, let's say, sa barangay, yung barangay po, karaniwan wala namang engineer yan. Naiintindihan po ba kaya nila yung technicality and the complexity involved in your project, your operation? So, it could be a waste of time kasi sa ngayon po, most of the barangays, except siguro yung mga Class A municipalities, baka they are equipped with technical people, pero pangkaraniwan po wala eh. So why would, Madam Chair, the developers, for example, would still engage with the barangay official? But hindi po dun sa munisipyo na or the city na nandun po yung mga technical, sipatawag na lang po siguro yung barangay kapitan para kahit papano kahalo siya dun sa discussion para ma-abbreviate po natin siguro yung ang daming layers pala. Hindi po
Ah,
ba kasama yung mga barangay tanod?
Well, Mr. Chair, hindi naman po parang purely barangay lang ang umpisa, no. Of course, meron po tayong mga unofficial na mga like for example immersion na are these projects acceptable to a certain community, the municipality or the province. So aware naman po ang lahat. Ang sinasabi ko lang is in fact pag nakikipag-usap po tayo sa barangay, we want them assured that they are aware and capable of the technical things that we have been saying for the longest time, no, na and in fact yung bating, to be honest, Mr. Chair, yung bating average po ng hydro when it comes to service contract to development is sobrang babang na po, nasa mga 5 to 10% lang. Kung nakikita po natin ang service contracts ng hydropower sa DOE is I think nasa 500 to 600. Wala po sa 100 ang na-develop na po. At marami nga pong mga problema like coming in between na pag nagko-construct ka natitigil na po, no. Yun nga po yung mga unforeseen. Going back dun sa barangay or sa munisipyo or sa province, informed naman po sila. At in fact, ang LGU nga po ang nagtutulak ng nagsasabi sa association and in investment forums. Alam ang mga LGUs po nag-i-endorse po, may ilog kami dito, may lawa kami dito. Pwede kayo magtayo ng hydro dito, pwede kayo mag-pump storage dito. At in fact, minsan doon nga po kami nag-uumpisa, doon namin nalalaman na gusto nila ng ganong project po.
Doon nga po ako nagtataka kung ba't meron kayong bottleneck sa LGU. Pangkaraniwan po, alam ba, kung ako kapitan, siguro, i-welcome ko po kasi development po yun sa aking lugar eh. Maaring may pangako niyo pa o yung dahil ikaw ang host, yung barangay hall ninyo, fully air condition kami na po magbibigay. Parang gano'n. Hindi ko po makita ba't nagiging bottleneck po yung mga barangay.
Mr. Chair, service contract application pa lang po ang pinag-uusapan kasi. So, dun sa service contract application, wala pa nga po tayong feasibility study, mag-uumpisa pa lang po tayo. So, although nag-i-inform din tayo, nakakandak tayo ng feasibility study, yung pong proseso na yon sabi nga dito sa sinabi ni Pipa, meron po, kung hindi man, kung matutuloy man yung ganung proseso, and hopefully, ang pinaka ano na lang namin is mapabilis po siya. Kasi,
What kind of assistance do you usually receive from government agencies? Kasi installers kayo, developers kayo. Kunwari, is DOE offering assistance or the local governments are offering assistance to you? Kasi po, pampalaki. Ito yung program natin eh. By 2030, by 2040, we should be at least 35 to 40% renewable dependent na tayo. Paunti-unti nawawala na yung fossil fuel. So, if this is the direction the government is trying to take, di ba, it is only to be anticipated that the government agencies should also assist you. Nandito yung LGU. Kaya hindi po makapaniwala na may bottleneck pa sa mga ganun. Dapat sana ay pare-pareho nating direction ito. So nagtutulungan ang bawat isa. The DOE, even the NEA, DRC siguro.
Yeah.
Even Meralco and other allied agencies. Kung ito yung direction natin.
yes, Mr. Chair. Pag meron po kami problema talaga po sa LGU at in-address po namin sa DOE, mabilis po ang DOE at they collaborate in conducting dialogues with LGUs. Sabi ko, this is on the service contract application pa po lamang. Yung dialogues nga po na DOE na minsan pinapasok nila is nandun na po sa mga project development stage or pre-development stage. Medyo malalim-lalim na nga po yung ano. So, we appreciate DOE, nandun po sila palagi. Pero ang sinasabi ko lang po is service contract application pa lang po tayo. Sabi ko, kung matutuloy man to, sana ma-expedite po siya at mabigyan po kami ng tamang reason kung bakit kami pwedeng i-deny ng isang LGU on the service contract application po.
Are your problems peculiar only to your
No, not necessarily, Mr.
hydro.
Chair.
Baka yung solar, wala yata ganyan. o yung,
Maybe they could
yung wind, wala
speak.
yata ganyan.
Meron din naman po. We all have our share of these concerns, and just to amplify on what Francis said, we have to go as low as granular as the barangay, because that's where the project will actually stand. The wind turbine will be there, the river will be there, or the solar farms will be there. So we have to start sa barangay to get their acceptance of the project.
Huwag
And we
po kayo
explain.
magalala, ang ating chairperson ng committee ay malakas po ang kanyang pananaw dito at very passionate siya rito. Palagay ko, ma-overcome po natin ang lahat ng mga problema na inyong binibigay sa atin. We will address that in proper time. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So I'd like to thank everyone for your presence today. I have to suspend this hearing because we have an all senators caucus going on and I'm already late. But my objective for today was achieved, which is to give all of you a chance to present your position and for me to hear the general concerns. At least on this side, there seems to be a common commonality in the issues that are important to you. Of course, we're always grateful for the government agencies for the work that you do, for also having an open mind, hearing the different concerns and perspectives. So kindly await our notice. We might be ready to step into a TWG, but you are always welcome, both government representatives and the private sector, to reach out to my staff if you have concerns that you want to elaborate on. We're not able to give you, as much time as some of you may feel you need during the hearings, but we can have small group meetings. You can come as a group, like yun nga, may mga common kayo. So kung gusto nyo, pwede sama-sama na lang kasi same naman yung concerns. And my team also be ready because they may reach out for some clarification so that before we go into the TWG, we at least can already, kumbaga sa kaso we already can identify our, what do you call that? Parang nag-pre-trial. We already identify our issues and we can move along. I'm happy that we were able to have this hearing because it seems it's almost like a low-hanging fruit as far as I'm concerned. It's something we can get going. It's not new to any of you. It's just really institutionalizing the process and maybe putting some more safeguards. So on that note, thank you, everyone. I hope I am giving you enough time to go back to your office. And you've had lunch, but like I said, ayoko na masyado mahaba para makatayo kayo at makapaggalaw-galaw ng konti. So thank you, everyone. The hearing is hereby suspended.